Hello, you're watching World Talks on TVP World. My name is Sasha Farma. After the Russian drone incursion on Wednesday morning into Poland, Warsaw has shut its border with Belarus ahead of the Russian-led Zapad 2025 drills. Now, regional security tensions are mounting across NATO's eastern flank. Joining us to discuss all this is retired Colonel Vaidotas Malinionis, Managing Director, National Defense Foundation. Good to have you on TVP World. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for inviting.
Let's begin with all that we know from Wednesday. And we have several incursions. At this time, we have several sites, 16 sites in Poland, where different drone debris has been found at this time. We're not sure if that's all of it. 19 violations. What's your military assessment on all this? Also, from your standpoint, as a close ally in Vilnius, in Lithuania, what do you make of, first of all, also this response? What could be next and what we have to deal with at the moment?
Well, definitely, it's very hard to say that those, incursions into the Polish territory was by accident. First of all, the number of drones is very high, maybe more than 20 objects. Second, it flew via Belarus territory. Previously, you had some incursions, but via Ukraine territory. And so this is very hard to say that it was an accident or because of, for example, Ukrainian air defense activities. So most probably, and I think it's 99.9%, it's intentional action. And the goal of those, incursions is, of course, to check the limits of NATO countries, check the tolerance of the limits, and because Putin is checking it, and probably if we are not reacting properly, the escalation will be higher later on. So those they are checking our limits, and our reaction, I think, it's a little bit too fast. For example, an announcement by the NATO HQ that it is considered not as an attack but as a provocation, I think it's very useful for Russia, for Trump. Mm-hmm. We at least had to wait 3 days before that announcement, because that's probably is what Russia is expected.
But at the same time, Vaidotas, if I may, I think that's also being a political statement. I'm saying it's an attack versus an incursion or provocation. I mean, that's the politics. I want to talk more about the military angle here. You said that the reaction, let's look at some of the drones. I mean, we know there was debris that was found by Polish authorities, Shahed drones, other types of drones. Tell us about the makeup of these drones. You said there was a large number of them. The kind of defenses that we have, we know that there were certain jets scrambled, NATO assets were used in all this, but is that sufficient for any kind of other incursions? Or if this were to happen again, do we have what it takes on our borders in Poland and also in Lithuania? Do we have the right assets for drone defense? What would that look like?
Well, as I know, Polish side, they managed to hit a couple drones, maybe 3 or 4, with the F-35, which is very expensive, of course, to hit those drones. There are cheaper measures, but they should be, organized and acquired. So if those incidents will continue, yes, definitely using rockets against cheap drones is very expensive. So we have to focus Eastern Europe, or especially the countries which has border with Russia, on more effective anti-drone wall measures. Ukrainians already have experience, and they are using cheaper measures. For example, electromagnetic waves to disable flights of the drones. Plus, they're also using special kinetic equipment like machine guns with a higher caliber and other tools. But nevertheless, drones are very cheap, and they can be directed in huge swarms, it's very hard, of course, to manage those incursions. So definitely we must focus, and I know that yesterday also Ursula von der Leyen during her annual, speech, she announced that European Union will be focusing on the drone wall with the countries which are bordering, Russia. So this is a good approach, but I think we should ask more faster act.
All right. You mentioned a couple interesting things there about the kind of systems that are required. I mean, we know at the same time that Poland has done a lot in terms of its East Shield, trying to get ready for all that. I mean, there's different things that need to happen. Also, the drone wall. I mean, this is an idea floated also by the Baltic states. I'm just wondering, get your assessment if that's now going to, let's say, get another boost. You mentioned also Ursula von der Leyen there, so I'm just wondering, what about the drone wall plans? And also Belarus. I mean, as you mentioned, some of those drones have come through Belarus. Does this change even more so our stance with Belarus? We know that the Poles have announced just very fresh, even I think it was just a few hours ago, from September the 10th to December 9th, there will be airspace closure all along the borders between Belarus and into Ukraine as well. So let's go back to that in terms of what that drone wall could look like, what's needed, how fast will that be, and what do we do with Belarus?
Yeah, first of all, the detection systems are needed. Yes, the drone. We need to have specific radars to detect, the drones, and of course. We should cooperate closely with our NATO neighbors. Yes, all those systems must be interoperable, and we should have some kind of integrated, information sharing systems. So we have something, but we need, of course, to update and upgrade everything that we have. Plus, is always better, to defend your territory from far away. So I think the decision, if we would help for western part of Ukraine, for example, to defend their airspace, would be also very welcomed. Although I'm not sure if NATO countries will have political will to introduce that, but that would be the best solution, I think, to use Ukrainian airspace to defend our airspace.
Mm-hmm. That's an interesting point there, and I think that's something that will, as you said, require some political wrangling. I'm also curious, I mean, the drones as well. Let's go back to that for a minute, because looking at all these different sites and the images we saw yesterday, I mean, they've landed, they've crashed. Parts of the debris is in farms, sometimes on housing, some in forests. I mean, unfortunately, it's not the first time this has happened. But in terms of, let's say, the residual impact of some of these drones, if the public find some, they stumble across this, or even authorities, how dangerous are these debris pieces? Can they still explode even if they have ordnance or not? What are some of the risks associated with some of this debris of drones that have been destroyed or crashed?
Well, of course, civil population must listen to the advices of authorities, yes. And in case they see the debris of or remnants of any drone, they must not touch it. We have to report it to the authorities and let authorities to work on it, because you never know, is it loaded with the explosives or not. So it's really dangerous. It could be dangerous. So the best of all is to report to authorities, and authorities will know what to do and how to proceed with that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then also something I want to ask, because this is happening currently, it's really close both to Lithuania and also Poland, these Zapad exercises, Russian-led, also taking place in Belarus. I mean, this is something that's happened before, but nevertheless, now with this incursion from yesterday, how do you see that as a military expert? What could be next here? Could some of these incidents repeat themselves? And second part, any way connected, I'm curious your view, these LNG rail cars that exploded yesterday near Vilnius. I mean, accident or something else? Give us your take.
Yes, talking about the exercises in Poland and in Lithuania and in Baltic Sea, we also NATO countries organizing also exercise, military drills and exercises. It's not under one umbrella of exercises, but we have series of smaller exercises around Belarus and within the countries which are bordering Russia. So, for example, in Lithuania, we also have I think 17,000 local troops plus NATO countries, yes, which are having drills. So in order to, outweigh exercises that are happening in Belarus. But experts, including myself, we were predicting that during the period of exercises, the provocations and may increase. And what exactly we are seeing, this drone attack also could be related and in the time during the exercises. Plus, you mentioned already about explosion in Vilnius. So it could be, according to the timing, coordinated attack. But so far, investigation is being in progress. And we don't know, was it attack or was it an accident? Initial evaluation, which was done after a couple hours of this accident, initial evaluation, it says that most probably it was a human mistake. But okay, we should have to wait, and then the evaluation will be more clear.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And just a final point, I'm curious about your reaction to Donald Trump, President Trump's reaction yesterday on his Truth Social. A little bit cryptic, just a closing comment on what you make of it.
Well, I would expect more, tough reaction, but right now we see very, so to say, very unclear and soft response. But okay, let's wait. Maybe they will conclude. Maybe we'll announce something in the White House after a couple of days. But so far, I don't think it's a reaction at all. I wouldn't say it's a reaction.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, look, as ever, thank you for the assessment. I think we have to be vigilant these days. This is a time where, of course, the authorities are going to be doing everything they can, but also the civilian population has to be calm as we assess all these things that are going on here on NATO's eastern flank. We'll close it there. Look, thank you. Really appreciate everything. Always a pleasure speaking. That was our guest here, retired Colonel Vaidotas Malinionis in Vilnius. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching. That concludes World Talks, but there's much more coming up right here on TVP World, so don't go away.